The sign is hung for 41 years. The shop behind it clears $420,000 a year. Nobody knows it is for sale. You have $85,000 saved. You are about to buy a dying business, the kind every boomer forgot to sell. You think this is about a bargain. It isn't. It is about a man handing you his whole life. Every day, 10,000 people his age retire. 4 out of 5 shops like his never sell. Lights off, doors locked. He has a number in his head. He will not say it yet. Neither will the bank. Neither will the men in the black cars who want it more than you do. Level 1. The customer. You did not find this business in a spreadsheet. You found it at the counter. You needed a fitting for a leaking sink. The hardware chain did not have it. Somebody said, "Try Waltz." So you went. The bell over the door was older than you. The place smelled like cut copper and pipe dope. And behind the counter stood a man in his 60s, reading glasses low on his nose, a pencil behind his ear. That is Walt. He had the fitting in 11 seconds. He knew the aisle without looking. He knew the part by the sound of your problem. You came back the next week, then every week. Not because you were a plumber, because the place was honest. The prices were fair. The advice came free. He remembered your name by the 3rd visit. He asked about your leaking sink like it mattered. Walt built it in 1984. 1 truck, 1 phone, a rented bay off the highway. 41 years later, he supplies half the trades in the county. Contractors, handymen, the city crew, the plumber with the failing knees, the kid on his first job, the woman who runs 3 rental houses. They all come to the same worn counter. They all trust the same old man. You learned his rhythm. Slow in the mornings, a rush at 7. Quiet after lunch. He opens at 6 for the early crews. He never closes early. Not once in 41 years. Snow days, sick days, the day his wife passed. The lights still came on at 6. One winter, you asked him who runs it when he is out. He laughed. He said, "I do not go out." And you heard something under the laugh. You just did not name it yet. The man was 67. His hands were slower than his eyes. His son sells software in another state. His daughter is a doctor and never wanted the pipe. There is no one behind him. You did not see it then. You were watching a whole street die. The barber down the block sold to no one. The print shop went dark last spring. A town runs on men like Walt, and the men like Walt are running out of years. There is only the counter, and the counter does not run itself. Level 2. The question. It happens on a Tuesday, late in the day, the shop empty. You are picking up a valve you do not really need. Walt rings it slow, then he stops. He looks at you over the glasses. He says, "You have got a head for this." You laugh it off. He does not. He says, "I am tired." 3 words, 41 years underneath them. Then he says the thing, "Would you ever want it?" And the shop goes very quiet. You do not answer, because you do not know how. You are older now, a few years into a job that pays fine. You are not a plumber. You have never owned anything bigger than a car. And a man just offered you his whole life over a valve. You have a good job, steady, safe, a boss, a badge, a paycheck that never scares you. This would burn all of it down. You would trade the safe thing for the heavy thing. That night you cannot sleep. You do the math you are afraid to do. A shop that clears $420,000 a year. What is that worth? You look it up. Businesses like this sell for 2 to 3 times what they earn. Call it 2.5. That is $1 million, maybe more. You have $85,000. The gap is a canyon. And here is the part nobody tells you. Walt does not want a check. He cannot find a buyer with $1 million in cash. Almost no one has it. 4 out of 5 owners like him die at the counter or lock the door, because the money is not sitting in a young person's account. So the seller becomes the bank. It is called a seller note. Walt lends you part of the price. You pay him back out of the business. The business buys itself, with his patience and your work. That is the whole trick of it. He waited 41 years for the right hands. He would rather be paid slow by you than paid fast by a stranger, if the stranger even shows up. Most of the time, no stranger comes at all. You go back the next morning. You say one word. Maybe. He nods like he already knew. You do not shake on it yet, but something shifts. You stop being the man who buys fittings. You start being the man who might buy the shop. And the clock you cannot see starts to run. Level 3, the diligence. Now you stop being a customer. Now you open the books. This part has a name, due diligence. It means you look at everything before you sign anything. You hire an accountant. He calls it quality of earnings. He pulls every ad back apart. The truck Walt runs through the books. The insurance on a boat that is really a hobby. You strip it all down to the real number. The number a new owner actually keeps. And everything looks good. At first. Revenue is $3,200,000 a year. After all the bills, the business clears $420,000. That number feeds a family. 2, if you are careful. You build the deal around it. The price lands at $1,200,000. Here is how you pay for a thing you cannot afford. The bank covers $900,000. That is 75% of the price. It is an SBA loan, government-backed, 10 years. Walt carries $240,000 himself. That is 20%. His own note, paid back over time. You put in $60,000, 5%. Almost everything you have. $85,000 saved, $60,000 gone at the table, $25,000 left to breathe. And the math works. The business clears $420,000. The bank payment is $146,000 a year. Cash over payment is almost 3 to 1. The banker calls it safe. You start to believe it. Then you find it. It is in the customer list. One name, over and over. A builder. A big regional one. You add up his invoices. $1,280,000 a year. 40% of everything. One customer. On a handshake. No contract. Your stomach drops. You ask Walt. He waves it off. He says, Dale and I go back 30 years. And that is the problem. Dale does not buy from the business. Dale buys from Walt. The relationship is retiring with the old man. You test it quietly. You call 2 other big accounts. They know the business. They also know Walt. Every road runs back to the old man's handshake. You run the number you do not want to run. Lose Dale, and $420,000 becomes $75,000. Because his revenue leaves. The costs do not. The rent stays. The payroll stays. The trucks stay. Almost every dollar of profit walks out with one man. The bank payment stays $146,000. Now the business cannot cover its own loan. Not even close. The banker sees it too. The word comes back cold. The deal, as written, is dead. And for 2 weeks it is. You stop sleeping again. You have spent $19,000 on lawyers and accountants already. Money you do not get back. You feel foolish. You almost call it off. You almost go back to being a customer forever. You start to think this was a fantasy. A customer who thought he could be an owner. Then Walt calls. Not the accountant. Walt. He says 4 words. Come to the counter. Level 4. The signature. You go. The shop is closed. The bell still rings. Walt has coffee poured. 2 cups. He slides a legal pad across the counter. He has done the math himself, and the old man has a plan. He says, the risk is Dale, so I will carry Dale. Here is what that means. Walt puts his own note on standby. 2 full years, no payments to him at all. For 2 years, only the bank gets paid. That payment is $146,000. You do the number with him at the counter. Say Dale softens and cash falls to $260,000. You still cover the bank almost twice over. The math breathes again. Then he goes further. $60,000 of his own money rides on Dale. Walt stays 12 months to hand the relationship over himself. Not on paper, in person. He drives to Dale. He vouches for you. If Dale stays a year, Walt keeps the $60,000. If Dale walks, it comes off your price. The seller is betting on his own promise. That is the moment you trust him fully, because he just put his money where his handshake was. The banker runs it again. On standby, the loan clears. The deal is alive. You should feel relief. Mostly you feel how close it came. One handshake account and the whole dream nearly ended. There is one more page. You almost miss it. A personal guarantee. It means the loan is not the store's problem. It is yours. If it all fails, they do not just take the business. They take you. Your house is on the paper. $85,000 and a house against $900,000 of debt. You read it twice. Then you sign. You expect it to feel like fireworks. It does not. You sign your name 11 times. Your hand cramps. The lawyer stacks the pages. And then it is done. You own a business, and you feel nothing like triumph. You feel the weight. You have a mortgage on a business and a mortgage on your life. Every crew that walks in tomorrow is now your problem. Every shelf, every payroll Friday, all of it, yours. Walt shakes your hand across the counter. The same grip. He says, "It is yours now." And his eyes are wet, and he pretends they are not. He built it for 41 years. He handed it over in an afternoon. You drive home the new owner of everything you were afraid of. Level 5, the handover. The first morning is 6 a.m. You unlock the door yourself. The bell rings for you now, and you have no idea what you are doing. Walt is there. He promised 12 months, but the shop is yours. The first crew walks in at 6:10. They ask for Walt. You feel it like a slap. Then Walt points at you. He says, "He is the guy now," and the crew shrugs and pays you. That is how trust transfers. One shrug at a time. It is slow. It is humbling. You know the parts, but not the people. You know the numbers, but not the names. So you learn the names. The peg comes due first. You bought the shelves full. $380,000 of pipe and fittings and brass. That is the working capital, the blood of the business. Some of it has not moved in years. You want to write it off. Walt knows every box. He says, "That fitting sells twice a year, and when it does, you are the only one who has it." You learn the shop is a library, not a warehouse. The dead stock is the moat. You stop trying to be lean. You start trying to be the last shop that has the odd part. That is the whole edge, not price, certainty. Then comes Dale. The whole deal rides on this one man. Walt drives you out himself. He does not sell you. He just says, "This one will not cheat you, and I am not coming back." Dale looks at you a long time. Then he orders like he always has. $1,280,000 a year, still flowing. You exhale for the first time in months. You learn payroll. You learn the vendors. You learn which contractor pays in 30 days and which one you chase. You learn the business, one small fire at a time. You start opening at 6 without Walt. You learn the rush at 7. You learn to never close early. You learn the part by the sound of the problem. Just like he did. Customers stop asking for Walt. They start asking for you. And one Tuesday, you look up and he is not there. He left early. For the first time in 41 years, the old man went home before dark. Because he finally could. You think the story is over. It is not. Someone else wanted this shop. You just do not know it yet. Level 6, the second owner. 2 years pass. The note comes off standby. You make the first payment to Walt himself, $240,000, paid down slowly, out of the business he built. It buys itself, just like he said. You are the second owner in 41 years. The sign still has his name. You keep it there. It is the least you can do. His name is the trust you spend every single day. And then you learn the thing you never knew. You were not the only offer. While you lay awake doing math, others were circling. The men in the black cars were real. They are called platforms, roll-ups, money with names like Apollo, like Blackstone. They buy shops like Walt's by the hundred. Home services, they call it. A fund in a glass tower owns the pipes under 1,000 towns. They do not know Walt's name. They know his revenue. They know his margin. To them, he is a line in a model. Line 47, a tuck-in. And one of those machines had found Walt's shop. Not Apollo, not Blackstone. A smaller clone of the same idea. It offered more than you ever could. $1,400,000. Cash. No seller note. A clean exit. No 12 months of driving out to Dale. No standby. No patience. No risk to him at all. He could have taken it and never worked again. He said no. The more money they offered, the less he trusted them. He had seen it before. A neighbor sold his hardware store to a roll-up. Within a year, the counter was gone. The staff was gone. The name over the door was a logo from a state he had never been to. You ask him why. You are back at the counter when you ask it. The same worn counter, the same coffee, and Walt tells you the truth. He says they would have closed the doors in a year and sold the shelves. He says You stood here for 10 years and never once tried to cheat me. He says, I did not build this for 41 years to hand it to a spreadsheet. He chose the customer. He chose the man who came in for a fitting and kept coming back. That was the whole deal in the end. Not the price, not the note, not the SBA. A handshake over a counter that a machine with $1 billion could not buy. Somewhere tonight, a sign is going dark. An old man is locking a door for the last time. No buyer, no note. No one who stood at his counter long enough to be trusted. 4 out of 5 end that way. Yours did not, because one day you needed a fitting and you kept coming back. That is the whole thing. Nobody handed you a check. You just showed up and showed up and showed up. The counter is yours now. The bell still rings. And every morning at 6, you open the door the old man never once closed early. If you want to see one of these bets go the other way, watch the man who goes from bankruptcy to owning $1 billion franchise.